This video is a recreation of a talk I gave on February 1st, 2018 at the Music Library Association annual meeting in Portland, Oregon. My name is Elwood Colohan. I am Music and Performing Arts Librarian at University of Denver, where I also hold an adjunct appointment in the School of Music to teach a graduate bibliography course. One of the challenges of such a course is teaching students to see themselves as active participants in a scholarly discourse rather than as passive consumers of scholarly production. This is part of the larger challenge represented by ACRL Information Literacy Threshold Concept number 5, Scholarship as Conversation. Musicology Spyfall is a gamified instruction activity that I have developed to address this challenge. It's based on ideas in an article by Nancy Fosberg in CNRL News. It was further developed as a general instruction activity in collaboration with my colleague Cindy Landis. The two-stage version of the game and the adaptation of the concept to musicology are my own. Spyfall is a commercially produced card-based party game. It's conceptually simple but tricky to play. The central conceit of the game is the spy, a deceptive character inserting himself into conversations in order to gain secret information. The game contains 30 sets of 8 cards, one set each for 30 different secret locations. At the beginning of a round of the game, a set of cards is chosen and each player except for one receives a card that identifies the same secret location. One player receives the spy card. The spy doesn't know the secret location. The other players don't know the identity of the spy. The spy wins the round if he or she guesses the location before being identified. The other players collectively win the round if they can identify the spy first. One round of the game takes 5 or 10 minutes, with the players taking turns asking each other questions. Non-spy players will frame their questions to try and detect the spy, while at the same time signaling to other non-spy players that they are not the spy. But if they are too specific in their questions or their answers, the spy may guess the location and win. Likewise, the spy will frame their questions to try to detect the secret location while not revealing that they are the spy. However, if their questions are too specific or if they bluff poorly, they risk giving away their identity. Now, literary theorist Kenneth Burke, in his essay, The Philosophy of Literary Form, offers a metaphor for what he calls the unending conversation that is going on at the point in history when we are born. In this metaphor, we enter a parlor where a conversation is already underway. We listen for a while to understand the terms of the conversation before beginning to offer our own ideas. In time, we become fully engaged in the conversation. Eventually, we must take our leave, but the conversation goes on without us. This metaphor is an excellent description of the scholarly conversation referenced in Threshold Concept 5 and expresses accurately the process of moving from outsider to insider status in that conversation, just the process that graduate students must negotiate in their own disciplines. Musicology Spyfall engages Burke's metaphor with a fun, social, and competitive game, played over the course of 2 one-hour classes. Because the details of gameplay in Spyfall are a little complex, the first class focuses on introducing students to the standard version of the game, which they play together in groups of 4 or 5. For the second class, I have students read the New Grove Dictionary article on musicology, specifically the second section of the article, Disciplines of Musicology. This section defines 11 separate subdisciplines within the field of musicology. I tell students that these will be the secret locations for a modified version of Spyfall. So the better they understand these 11 concepts, the more advantage they will have playing the game. I also have students watch one of the many short videos on the Burkean parlor metaphor that are available on YouTube. I prepare 11 sets of custom Spyfall cards, each set a different color and each labeled with one of the musicological subdisciplines described in the New Grove article. The class breaks into the same groups as before and plays the game with the new cards. Once again, there is a spy in every group trying to guess the subdiscipline, while the other members of the group are trying to guess the identity of the spy. This time, students are asking and responding to questions based on the subtle ways each musicological subdiscipline is different from the others. Winning the game depends on the depth of their engagement with the conceptual framework and practice traditions of each subdiscipline, and their attentiveness to each other's questions and answers. In playing the game, they are role-playing academic discourse and developing a better understanding of what the academic study of music is all about. I follow the game with a brief discussion of the Burkean parlor and ask students to connect their experience playing the game with their understanding of Burke's metaphor. I remind them that scholarship is a conversation and that they are learning to become insiders in that conversation. Students readily grasp the game as representing the process of finding one's way into a scholarly discourse. They report that the modified version of the game is more challenging and more interesting to play than the original unmodified version. I have created a website that describes the game in a little more detail and includes my contact information if anyone should like to get in touch with me. If you want to find it, just Google Musicology Spyfall. Thank you for listening.